not your prompt, it's the AI. I want this to be interactive. So whenever you see a little green question mark with a little bubble, please put some stuff in the chat. I can't really see the chat, but I want this to be interactive because I want to get your feedback, and I'll look in the chat later on. All right. So my name's Heather Zeitzwolf. This is really about finding your vision within these AI tools. And it turns out there's a lot of fembots and kitties in this one. So it's called AKA fembots and kitties, and you'll see why. So I have explored all kinds of different apps, and I hopefully you have too. So have you been creating anything with AI apps? And if you have, put it in the chat. These are some images that I made in DALL-E and Canva, but there are so many other tools out there. So I'd love to know which ones that you have tried. So this is going to be the overview. So I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room, which is some weird stuff that happens, like what Jen was talking about, exploring different AI tools, how we can tweak these tools to get things that we want. So that's not just like we put something in and then those are the results. Nah. And then using a combination of these things to create something brand new. I got a caveat, I'm not a lawyer. So just keep that in mind. I am a CPA, I'm a business advisor, podcaster, but I'm not a lawyer. So whatever you do with this stuff, don't talk to me about it. But if you want to contact me, you can find me on Instagram. That's an easy way. You can just slide into my DMs. All right. So AI art, there's a dilemma here. So we have this, we're creating something, but there's this copyright issue. Ooh, okay, we'll talk to a lawyer about that. There's also the output, where it can be unpredictable, it can be extremely time consuming. So we're using AI because it's supposed to be a shortcut, but man, I can spend hours working on a prompt just to get exactly what I want. Sometimes the results are just absolutely just terrible. It can be biased. There's some constraints, like if you say like, I want this in an Andy Warhol style, like suddenly it's like, no, I can't give that to you. But if you say pop art, oh, okay, suddenly it knows what it can do that. So you have to kind of know the nuances of it. The results can be magical and amazing, but do we really own this stuff? I don't know. Okay, so I want to show you some things where I got some weird results. So I'm calling this the elephant in the room thing, because I think a lot of people try AI art and they're like, what the heck? I'm not getting what I wanted. So in this instance, I wanted to have some cats with some donuts, and I wanted them to be by a conveyor belt. And in my mind, it made sense. Cats with a conveyor belt. Well, DALL-E just put the cats in the conveyor belt. So that wasn't exactly what I was talking about, but man, it ended up being very surreal. So in the chat, just put in if you've gotten some weird responses. So again, this is, it wasn't very clear. 3 donuts spread out on a large conveyor belt with sad cats in baker's hats. I'm talking to a computer. They don't know what I mean. So someone was talking about earlier about like, it's not a human, so we got to think about these things. These guys do look sticky. So you may notice when you're doing using these AI types things, where when you put in a prompt, it will respond to certain aspects, but it will ignore others. And I know yesterday someone was saying like, you got to talk nice to it. I've tried that. You've got a woman yesterday was talking about using Jesus and, prayer and all this into ChatGPT. I haven't tried that, but I have tried being sassy with it. So you may find that you need to get sassy with it and say, you got to be the boss of your AI. Okay. And let them know what you want. So this was the second iteration of this one. And I made it a little bit more clear, like they're standing next to the conveyor belt. And then I ended up with this. So there were certain descriptive points that the drippiness of the donut on their whiskers was gone, but I ended up with this. So you tweak. Again, there's a little question mark there. So I'm wondering, how have you tweaked? Put it in the chat. All right, and then there are some nuances of bias and assumptions that I guess AI is making. So when I have said when in text that I wanted someone with dreadlocks, like what I've gotten things that have looked more like myself. If I put in an image, for some reason, it reads dreadlocks black. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, I mean, these are great looking images, but I was trying to make an avatar of myself. And so it didn't really work. So I put in a picture, it came up with a different version of myself. Then I was the radical profit fairy for Podfest. I tried doing all kinds of images. I wanted to make a coloring book for everybody, but it made me the sexy fairy and then this other fairy. So for some reason, this image of fairy, when I fed it the image, it wanted to make it like sexy and skinny and bustiers and all that kind of stuff. But then when I typed in fairy, I got better responses. So again, think about like how you can feed in this information differently and try a different app. Oh my God, Adobe. I love Adobe, but man, they have not figured out what in the world is going on with AI. And yikes, have you seen the lady on the end with the hand that looks like it looks like a sea creature or something, doesn't it? It looks like squid hands. This one was supposed to be people on a roller coaster. Well, AI was like literally like they put them in the roller coaster and they became part of the roller coaster. Uh, AI has a tendency to do like 3 legs. We got a woman here with 3 legs. We got weird hands. Some of them will like hide the hands. And it's funny, when I was in fashion design school, I was terrible at drawing hands. So I was always hiding hands like on the hips or in the pockets. But you might get the best picture and then get like weird mutated hands. So I love mutants, but this is not in a good way. So I find that Adobe is good for other things, not this. All right, spelling errors. You may have made things that you're like, this is a great graphic. And then you look and it's like, it's in different languages, or maybe it's not even a real language, or it's got weird spelling. So oftentimes you'll have to take what you get and then modify it. So I try to make it so that it doesn't put any words in my pictures. Sometimes it just automatically does that. So just keep in mind about that. And Adobe, hey, it's great for modifying pictures. So I brought in this image that I made in DALL-E. You can see the first iteration was a woman holding it up, and it did spell it correctly in the photograph version. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. That's totally not my style. So I redid it as like a pop arty kind of thing. And then I brought it into Adobe Express. And I don't know if you can see, but I added things like ice cream man and cats and things like that. So you can make it your own. And I call this sort of the collage effect. All right, so AI tools. There's different ways that you can control what you have in these tools. You can do single text prompt. Now, some of these are just designed that way. That's all you can do is just put in text. Other ones have text, and then I'll call it conversation. So like DALL-E, you can put in something and then you can be like, nah, that's not quite what I want. It uses more of that ChatGPT kind of interface, and you can get more nuance and over. And they've redid it so you can actually reference back images now. So it's super cool. If you haven't tried DALL-E, it was terrible in the beginning. So if you tried in the beginning, it has gotten so much better. Some of them will allow you to use an image and a text. So you can upload an image, and then you can nuance it with some more text conversation. Some have style settings, so you can adjust it. It might be neon or photographic or graphic design, or they have things like that. Or they might have ways that you can toggle different things. Some of the stuff you have to pay for, some of it might be part of the free version. So it just depends on which one that you're using. So they have style settings and then style modifications where you can adjust the style. Some of them have to do with like how many credits that you're going to pay. You can adjust the scale on how close it is to your prompt. So look for those types of things if you're not quite getting what you want. See if there's a way to adjust it. All right, these are the ones that I'm going to talk about today. And Canva, DALL-E, Adobe Express, Limewire used to be for MP3s. Now it's for you making an image. They bought BlueWillow, Leonardo, and KREA. These are the ones I'm going to concentrate on today. All right, so with one prompt, you can get totally different results in the different software. So this is an example of this. So I want you to look for, while I'm talking today, some of the similarities that come from using the same prompt from software to software. And then what are some of these assumptions that you think that they're basing it on? Like, where are they pulling this information? And notice like what areas of my prompt is being completely ignored, and then look for artistic styles like texture, color, the vibe of the picture, maybe the inspiration. And again, let me know if you've encountered any of these things. Put it in the chat. So I used to be in fashion, so I think about design boards. My brain just thinks in design boards. So I'm going to show you kind of what my brain was thinking when I designed this very, very simple prompt. So Twiggy, I don't know if this is a younger crowd, maybe you don't know who Twiggy was, but Twiggy was a supermodel before there were supermodels in the 60s. I love her. So my reference that I want is, I put down the prompt, create a female robot that is wearing a silver jumpsuit. She looks like the model Twiggy, and her jumpsuit looks very mod 60s. So if you don't know what mod is, mod was a style in the 60s. So in my mind, I'm thinking Lost in Space. I'm thinking the fembots from Austin Powers, and then that awesome costume from the 2001 Space Odyssey, where where she's like walking around, she's got the big helmet thing. So this is my brain, this is what I'm thinking, and I'm hoping that I can infuse my brain into AI. So let's see how AI does with figuring this out without knowing these things. So this is my brain. How does AI do on this? Canva did an amazing job. So just using the word prompts, it was able to output these wonderful images of these women who look very much like Twiggy. I love these. These are my favorite ones that I got out of this bunch. These came from DALL-E, so this was just strictly a prompt. These look like porcelain dolls, which is an interesting interpretation. The hair does not look like Twiggy. The costume actually almost looks like the Lost in Space one. So it's interesting how, like, remember the helmet from 2001, that hat? The hair is kind of like that hat. So very wild. Now, Adobe Express. Ugh, these are terrible. Oh my God. So I actually went back to Adobe Express recently just to see, like, did it get any better? So the ones in the very center, terrible. Oh my God. Ugh. And then I went back yesterday, I think it was, or maybe 2 days ago, and it did the exact same prompts and got some other different ones. So the ones in the ends are the newer ones. Now, what I can say about Adobe is they like to give you a lot of variety. So they want to make sure that they're not being gender biased, that they're not being, they don't want to be like ethnicity biased. They don't want to be body conscious. They want to have all shapes and sizes, skin tones, all of that. So it really is built on diversity, which is great. But if you're looking for something specific, it makes it a little tougher. So The one I actually do like is the one that looks like the Amelie character from that movie, which I've never seen, but I think she's this little girl down here is adorable. So keep that in mind. And then over on the side here, it shows you exactly like these are the different adjustments that I made. All right, this one is out of Limewire. Now, Limewire has a free version and then a paid version. And this is from the free version. And the free version, you have to use up little points. And there is a lever of like how close you can get. This one is interesting because it gave everybody a bob haircut, which I did not have. That wasn't part of my inspiration. And they all look very similar. See the textures of the fabric, all very, very much the same. Then I went into Leonardo AI. And if you've used Leonardo AI, please let me know in the chat. I would love to get your feedback on this one. I called this the Renaissance Perv because Leonardo is like, it's not Leonardo DiCaprio, it's Leonardo da Vinci it's supposed to be based on. And this one has different parameters that you can set. So it's not just the text that you put in, but you can make a little adjustments. Now I'm using a free version. If you use the paid version, wow, you can do some like outrageous stuff with this software. But notice how this one, for some reason, made it a little bit more pervy. To me, it looks a little bit more pervy, more sexualized. I was a little surprised. So then I was like, what if I make some other adjustments in Leonardo? Is it still always going to be so pervy? So this was the results. So these are some different settings that I made. So this right here shows you. So this was called Dream Sharper V7. And then I had none over here. And that gave me these like sort of vacant eye ones. And then these over here, I got like the naughty nurse version and all this. And that was using the absolute reality and the Leonardo style. I don't know. I'm just playing around with it. Then over here, we got the anime version. And then this one, notice this one. This one is just Stable Diffusion 2.1. Look at that bunch of horribleness. That's terrible. If that was what I started with, I would have probably given up on this software. So if you're looking for pervy, maybe go with Leonardo. Now, KREA. A lot of people I don't think have discovered KREA yet, but this one is amazing. And I'm only using the free version. So how it works is you load in images and then you've got images on one side and then a control lever on the other side. And I would have loved to show you this live, but I was afraid maybe this just wouldn't work. So how it works is I loaded in my images. So you can see over here that these are the images I was thinking in my brain. And then they have images that are built in. So I brought in this background of outer space because she's supposed to be a robot. I'm thinking outer space. So there's a lever up here. And as you move the lever, the strength of the image becomes higher and higher. So at first it's taking these images and it's just taking them as chunks. And then it's going to morph them into one image. So this is sort of sliding it over. And then this is sliding it more. And then I end up with this beautiful woman over here. Now, if I tweak it by using this different setting, so this one was the concept setting. This one is the CGI setting. And as you can see, it looks almost like something out of like some kind of cartoony movie or something, but beautiful, but not what I was looking for. Now, I wanted you to see what KREA could do besides this, because this just kind of looks like, oh, it looks kind of like the same as it's going. But you can get some radical results. So this one, I used a thing about donuts, and I'm going to go back to my little donut thing in a minute. But I put in piles of donuts with sprinkles on a conveyor belt. So I'm back to that same thing that we talked about earlier. So this is this image with the lady with the mask or the helmet. This is a built-in image in KREA. So I just pulled that in and then put that description. I didn't know what the heck I was going to get. And as I slide the bar, I get these weird, it's like almost like she's like a Twinkie and a woman and a weird caterpillar thing going on. And as you move the lever, you get things kind of morph and change. As you move this little lever, it can be just like immediately, like it just like bleh, morphs into something completely different. So you almost have to be like, if you find something, don't move the lever, like just download that image because you may not get back to it again. So weird stuff. I mean, look at this weird, it looks like a tape dispenser and then it turns into cats with, yeah, it's very weird. Uh, Tell me if you like that kind of stuff because I love that. I think it's great. Collage. Okay, this is where your artwork can really come alive, where you can take all this weird stuff that you've made and you put it together into some kind of collage and make it your own. Now, I'd like to think that making a collage is more legal, but again, I'm not a lawyer. But I have used these things in social posts, blogs, newsletters, flyers, logos, videos, that sort of thing. So I'm taking the same thing about the donuts I made, and then I bring it into Adobe Express. I love Adobe Express for this kind of stuff. So I made this collage and then I made this as a blog post. So you can turn all these aspects. I brought in a lot of these different things in here and I use some of their stickers. I've also used this stuff in videos that I've done as backdrops and then promotional type stuff. And then in DALL-E, I wanted to just go over the nuances of getting sassy with your AI. So when you first start off, you may find that like, oh, this is the little pink one. That was my first description, kind of sucked. Then you kind of have to just kind of nuance it and nuance it and nuance it and think like an artist. What do you need? Do you want, different types of colors and textures? And what is it that you need to feed into it so it understands what you want? And then I ended up with this guy, which I think is pretty darn adorable. He looks kind of like an Elton John. Then I wanted cats on pizza and cats in space riding bikes and money. And so this guy's got money and pizza, and this guy's got pizza. So again, it's all these nuances. I took that little guy in a bike. I wanted to make a new logo for my new podcast. I made a carrot guy. I made a version of myself. And then I made a logo thing out of it. And I have this on LinkedIn right now. I think it's cute, but it's my taste isn't for everybody. Here's another example. So I took that guy with the pizza, and I had said I wanted a vegetarian pizza, and it put cucumber on a pizza. Like AI obviously doesn't know. Ugh, that's disgusting. So then I brought it into Adobe and was going to use the generative fill, which is supposed to be like a smart fill. So you select the area and then it replaces things. Well, it put like an overabundance of tomatoes on there. I didn't want that. So I decided I'm just going to replace it with vegan pepperoni. So I had to do some different things. So first I had to erase the pizza. I had to make a copy of my little cat so that I could put a piece of pizza underneath him and then put the cat back on top. So you can see I found a piece of pizza that was sort of the same angle, and then I had to kind of maneuver it. And then when I put it in place, it just never quite lined up. And this is the second cat on top of the other one. And then so what I did was I was like, oh, maybe if I blow it out and put some glow around it, that'll make the difference. And then I was like, oh, glow. I was like, oh, yeah, look at this backdrop. I'm like, maybe I can make him like a Miami Vice kind of thing. And so then I turned him into Pizza Vice. And then Pizza Vice turned into another Pizza Vice. So I took the guy that was on the skateboard. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to take a piece of pizza and make the sun in the background. And then why not take this little guy and put him on the slice of pizza like he's a UFO in the sky? And I ended up with this wild and craziness. So to wrap up, try to avoid the elephants by finding other ways and tools to do this. Explore various AI art tools. Don't just think like you just use one. If you use Canva, try something else. Then you get so many different things. And look, this one with DALL-E and Leonardo, those are the same exact prompts right there. Adobe Express, I got to tell you, if you want to make pictures of monkeys, it is excellent for making pictures of monkeys. I've made so many because I love chimps. I was born in the year of the monkey. I love doing that. And then this DALL-E one down here, just to FYI, I took some of those images, my inspirational images, and it created this. And I think it's sort of feeding off of the Lost in Space and the Twiggy. So it, you know, you can do things like this. So tweak your results and then use a combination of tools. Don't just like use one thing and be like, I'm done. I'm putting this in a newsletter. Okay, I had a database. I was going to give you a QR code this morning. Went to, I should just check it. Somehow that page is completely gone now, and I have to put it up again. So just send me an email. You can find me on Instagram. Just hit me up if you want. I've got a very big database of AI stuff. That stuff is still up. It was the link thing that's not working. So that is it. So I am going to take questions now. And hey, I just want to just let you guys know. So for the promo, I was turned into a cowboy. Now I've never been a cowboy except for in my 4th grade picture. For some reason, I wanted to dress like a cowgirl. I've been ashamed of this picture all my life, but I thought, hey, I'm going to take this into AI, and I use the same AI that whoever made the podcast art for. I made myself in. Look at this. I'm actually a cute little punk rock girl. Had I known I could have been that cute back then, I would have been more secure about myself. So there you are. AI, it makes us all look fabulous, right? All right, I'm going to should I stop my share, Jen?
All right, sure. Yeah, that's fine. I put your email in the chat, and Heather, that was amazing. I love how you showed us how to use all the different things, you know, and mix them up together. The gender bias, if you're a man, you have no idea what it is like to try to get these pictures decent, like, you know what I mean? As a mom of 7, there's a lot of them I cannot show my children. It's crazy. So, yeah, so I like how you talked about that a little bit and showed us how we can change it up and iterate it. And, yes, 7 born in 4 different decades. That's for another day. How crazy is that? Let's see. So yeah, this has been absolutely amazing, and I appreciate you. And we're going to bring up Lori next. And you know, fun fact.
Lori, we did have a quick question, Jen.
Yeah.
Tiffany asked, Heather, when you're talking about KREA and like the AI generation things, yeah, Tiffany asked, is it counterintuitive to not let people get as close to their desired image? Don't they want people to get what they want to come back?
Oh, you know, KREA is a very strange creator tool. And the way it works is like, I wanted to show some other images, but like I had for the donut ones, you can bring shapes on and it can take those shapes and morph them into what you want. So it's more of an exploratory tool. I think you have less control over it, but and there's different things that you can pick. So cartoon, like anime, cartoon, there's lots of different settings, and you're just going to get a wild assortment of things. I didn't have time to show all of it. So
very cool.
Play around with it.
It's good to see the AI generation, because you could see like, oh, maybe I thought I was looking for this, but the AI is actually making it look closer to what I want it to look like, kind of thing. That's kind of the purpose of school, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can just tweak it. You know, you can take things like use someone's hair, put your own face in. I mean, there's ways of, you know, zhuzhing. It's all about the zhuzh.
I love it.